Hi students. Today we are going to work on solving story problems. So I made this little, poster, and it says solving story problems. So we have 4 steps when we solve a story problem. And these story problems are going to be both addition, or sometimes it can be addition and sometimes they'll be subtraction. So it's up to us to find out what we have to do, okay? And we do that by first underlining important words. That is a really important step because that will help us decide whether we have to add or subtract in a problem. The second step is to circle important numbers. Now, important numbers are going to be the numbers that we either have to add or the numbers that we have to subtract. Number 3 is to write a number sentence. So when we write a number sentence, that could be, for example, 378 minus 254, okay? And maybe that is the problem that we have to solve in order to find the answer. And then step 4 is to solve the problem. So solve your number sentence and then check your answer. That means double check. So resolve that problem to really double check that you got the right answer. So we are going to do 4 story problems together, and then you're going to do 2 story problems on your own on Seesaw. But first, I want to show you something. And this is already on our Bitmoji classroom. It is a, let's see. It is a story problem poster, and it tells you, here we go, it's story problem words. So all of you have access to this on our Bitmoji classroom. You can click on it and it will get bigger, just like it's taking mine to a bigger screen. Sorry if it's a little bit freezy today. My computer is kind of slow. So we have addition words and we have subtraction words, okay? So these words in orange, if you see these words in a word problem, most likely you're going to have to add. Not all the time. I don't want to say all of the time that you'll have to add, but most of the time, if the question has one of these words in it, you'll have to do adding. Now, on the other side, these words here in like the coral color are subtracting words. So if you see one of these problems in a story problem, then you'll most likely have to subtract. So this is really important, and we're going to keep this in mind today as we solve our problem. So I'm going to go back to this. Excuse me. Excuse me again. I am getting over a cold. So I'm sorry if I seem sniffly and if I cough a little bit. All right. So we are going to solve this problem first. I made 4 story problems for us. We're going to solve them together. By the way, if you want to do this with me on a sheet of paper, you can do that, or you can just follow along. Or you could even write down the story problem or the actual word problems on a whiteboard if you want to, but you don't have to. All right, so this is our first story problem. Miss Johnson picked 46 tomatoes from her garden on Friday. I didn't really. I don't have that many tomatoes. I wish. Then she picked 17 tomatoes on Saturday. How many tomatoes did she pick in all? All right. So our first step, remember this chart says our first step is to underline important words. That's step number 1. So I'm going to underline important words. And the important words are going to be words like our story problem words that we just saw on this poster. Okay, so I'm going to wonder and kind of see if I see any of these words. Now it says in all there. Okay, now in all is one of my story problem words, and it means to add. So I'm going to underline those words because they're important. And then my second step is to circle important numbers. Okay, so I'm going to circle important numbers. I see the numbers 46 and 17. Now, I don't always have to circle every single number, but I think these are pretty important in the problem because I picked 46 tomatoes and then I picked 17 as well the next day. So both of those numbers I think are important. I'm going to circle those. Okay, so I underlined my important words and I circled my important numbers. And step 3 is to write a number sentence. Okay, so I need to write a number sentence based on what is happening here. Now it says, and by the way, you might want to read a story problem more than once to really understand what's going on in that problem. I have to read problems more than once too, because that's just how my brain works. It works better for me to reread things to really understand it. So I picked 46 tomatoes from my garden on Friday. Then on Saturday, I picked 17 tomatoes. How many did I pick in all? Well, my number sentence then would have to be addition because I picked 46 tomatoes one day, 17 the next day. How many in all did I pick? All together. So that means adding. I know I'm going to have to add. So my number sentence for this problem would be 46 plus 17. And I don't really like solving problems this way. So whenever I see a problem that's going sideways like this, I'm always just going to put it vertically, which means up and down. That is the way that we usually solve math problems. So I'm going to do that. Step 4, after I have written my number sentence, is to solve and check. Okay, I'm almost done with this problem. 6 plus 7, that is my first step here. So, because we always start in the ones place. So what I would like for you to do is figure out what 6 plus 7 is in your head real quick. And you could even use your fingers to count if you need to. And that answer is 13. So I made a new 10 here. Have to carry that over. And then 3 ones left over. Now I have 1 plus 4 plus 1. Well, 1 plus 4 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. 63. Now 63 is only part of my answer. I need to label my answer. Labeling your answer is like extremely important when you are doing story problems in math, okay? I love when kids label their answer. It's always kind of been something that I really try to help kids remember to do in math. So my label here is going to be, well, 63 what? Right? How many tomatoes did I pick in all? Well, I picked 63 tomatoes. So that is my label. And then I like to always circle my answer. So that way it's clearly seen. 63 tomatoes is my answer. However, it does tell me to check my work on here. So maybe I should go over that one more time and double check my work like this. Well, 6 plus 7, let me solve that again. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so that is 13. I did that correctly. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Perfect. I double checked my work and I know and I am very confident that 63 is the answer. Okay, perfect. Now let's go on to the next one. That wasn't too bad, was it? Hope not. Oh, this one has to do with McDonald's, which I know some of you guys like. All right, here is the question. There were 378 customers who went to McDonald's on Monday. There were 409 on Tuesday. How many more people went to McDonald's on Tuesday than on Monday? All right, so my first step on my solving story problems poster is to underline important words. Okay, so I'm going to pick a different color this time. I'm going to use purple. So the words that are important in this problem, let's see. remember, the important words are most likely going to be the words on this chart, okay? Either addition or subtraction. I see the words how many more in this problem, right here. How many more? Those are very important words, okay? So I don't really think I see any other important words. How many more people went to McDonald's on Tuesday than on Monday? So how many more is the key important words in that sentence, okay? That's what it's asking. Now, the second step is to circle important numbers. So I'm going to look here and I see 378 customers who went to McDonald's on Monday and 409 customers went on Tuesday. I think those are very important numbers, so I'm going to circle them. And they are certainly important numbers. Okay, perfect. Step 3, write a number sentence. Okay, so we're writing a number sentence now. Well, first of all, I need to figure out, am I using addition or subtraction in this problem? If I have 378 customers who went to McDonald's on Monday and then 409 on Tuesday, we're trying to think, well, how many more people went on Tuesday than on Monday? Because obviously 409 is a bigger number than 378. Okay, so it's not asking how many altogether or in all, how many customers went in all. It's not asking that. It says how many more. So I'm going to go back to my chart and I'm going to find the words how many more. And I'm going to see if it's underneath addition or subtraction. And I see it right here. Okay, ooh, I don't know why I did that. I see it right here. Okay, how many more? And that is under subtraction. So I need to subtract in this problem because I need to figure out how many more people went. How many more is 409 than 378? What number would be left over? Okay, so I always have to put the bigger number on top or else I cannot subtract. Okay, the bigger number between these numbers is 409. That is the bigger number. So I'm going to do 409 minus 378. Now I cannot forget, I am subtracting here. Okay, so I'm not going to add these numbers. I need to subtract them. Okay, we don't want to make that silly mistake of adding when there is a subtraction symbol. So 9 minus 8. What's 9 minus 8? Can we do that or can we not do that? If you have 9 donuts, can you eat 8 of them? Yes, you can. If you have 9 donuts and you eat 8, you're going to have 1 left. Okay, going over to the tens place. 0 minus 7. You cannot do that, can you? 7 is a bigger number than 0. So we can definitely not do that problem. So what's going to happen? Well, if you remember from yesterday, we have to go over to the tens place, or the hundreds place, sorry, and we have to borrow 100. So we have to go knock, knock, knock. And they're going to say, well, who's there? And we're going to say, it's the tens place. We need to borrow. And of course, they're going to let us because they're so nice. So I'm going to cross off that 4. And I am going to subtract 1 here because I'm really subtracting 100, right? This number is 400 because it's in the hundreds place. If I take 400 minus 100, that's going to be 300. So I'm going to just write a 3 here. Now I need to add 10 to the 0, or I just add a 1 in front of the 0 and change it to 10. Now I have 10 minus 7, and I can do that. That would be 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. I do not write a 0 like here. I don't do that. I never write a 0 in front of another number. Okay, zeros are not ever the first number of a number. Okay, so we just leave that blank. It's what I like to say is an invisible 0. So the answer here, or part of the answer, would be 31. However, I have to have a label. So what would my label be? Well, the question says how many more people went to McDonald's on Tuesday than on Monday? The label would be people, right? 31 people, or customers, either one. And I'm going to circle my answer. There we go. And I can just double check my work in my head. 9 minus 8 is 1. 0 minus 7, I couldn't do that. I had to go over and borrow, so that changed to a 3. That's a 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. 3 minus 3 is an invisible 0. So I did the problem correctly, and that's the answer. Okay? Perfect. Halfway done. I hope you're still with me. Now, what I want you to do, if you're watching this video right now, and you feel like you need to get a big stretch in, go ahead and lift your hands up to the sky. Oh, try to touch the ceiling wherever you are. Really stretch out your shoulders and your arms. And you can kind of put them to the side. My arms are sore because I did lots of push-ups yesterday. And then you can kind of just twist your body a little bit to kind of get yourself moving, because I know this is kind of a longer math lesson. All right, let's keep going. 2 more problems to go. I'm going to use red this time. Next problem says, Olivia read 57 pages of her book in the morning and 13 in the afternoon. How many pages did she read altogether? All right, so my first step is to underline important words. So, remember, when we underline important words, we are underlining the words that tell us either adding or subtracting. So what word do you see in this problem that you think is important and tells us if we need to add or if we need to subtract? And if you're not sure, you could look here. Well, I see the word altogether in this problem, and that means to add. So I'm going to underline that because I think that's a pretty important word. The second step is to circle important numbers. And the numbers I see here are 57 and 13, and those are the numbers of pages that Olivia read. So those are important numbers, and I'm going to circle them. The next step is to write a number sentence. So altogether means to add. She read 57 pages of her book in the morning and 13 in the afternoon. How many pages did she read all together? So I have to add those 2 numbers up. Okay, so I'm going to write 57 plus 13. Now here I'm adding. I'm not subtracting anymore. I am adding. Okay, so I have 57 plus 13. I always start in the ones place. So I have 7 plus 3. 7 plus 3 equals what? 10, right? So I made a 10. Had 0 ones left over. Now I have 1 plus 5 plus 1. Well, if I add 2 of those first, 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So 70 is part of my answer. And what do you think the label is? The question says, how many pages did she read altogether? 70 what? If you're thinking pages, then you are right. She read 70 pages that day. All right. Perfect. 1 more problem to go. I hope you're ready for it. Oh, this one has to do with donuts, which is like my favorite dessert. I don't really like to eat donuts for breakfast, but I really like to eat them as a dessert. I know that's kind of strange, isn't it? All right. So the donut shop. I wonder, have you been to the donut shop in Geneseo before? Because I love it. Maybe if you're new to Geneseo, you've never been there, but you should go. I would highly recommend it. Very delicious. So the donut shop made 490 donuts this morning. They have sold 137 already. How many donuts do they have left? Okay, so my first step is to underline important words. These are the words that are going to tell me, whether I need to add or subtract, right? So remember, if we go back to this chart, So I see the words, how many donuts do they have left? Okay, so you know what? I should have put that underneath subtraction here because how many left means like you're going to have to figure out that problem by subtracting, okay? Because they made 490 donuts in the morning for the whole day, and so far they have sold 137. So they're trying to figure out, well, how many donuts do we have left to sell, right? And that left is definitely would be a subtraction word. So I'm going to underline that, and I will add it to the chart because I think that's an important story problem word that you might see sometimes. And perfect. I'm also going to underline sold because I think that also kind of tells me I need to subtract. Okay, so now I have to circle my important numbers. Well, I think 490 is very important in this problem, and so is 137 because those are the numbers that tell me about the donuts and how many they sold so far. Now, we already talked about how many left means that you're going to have to probably subtract. So I'm going to subtract in this problem. Now, I have to put the bigger number on top when it is subtracting, okay? Or else I'm going to have a big bottom problem and I can't do anything, okay? The bigger number between 490 and 137, well, the bigger number is definitely 490, okay? So I'm going to put that number on top, minus 137. Well, I always start in the ones place, 0 minus 7. I cannot do that. That is not doable because our bigger number here, the 7, is on top. Now, even though 490 is the bigger number overall, 7 is bigger than this 0 in the ones place. So that's a big bottom problem. I have to go over to the tens place, knock on their door, and ask them to borrow a 10. And they're going to let us for sure, and so it's going to change to an 8. Because it's always going to subtract 1 from this number because we're borrowing 1. Now, I put a 0, or I put a 1 in front of this 0. So if I write 0, 1 in front of it, it changes to a 10. Now I have 10 minus 7, which is easy. That's a 3. 8 minus 3, 5. 4 minus 1, 3. So they have 353 what left? What should be our label? Donuts, right? They have 353 donuts left to sell. And that's our answer. All right, great. So you are going to have to do 2 problems of your own on Seesaw, okay? And I just wanted you to do 2 because we're also going to do story problems tomorrow as well. And so I just thought, you know what, you already watched this kind of long video, so I didn't want you to have to do too much work. So if you need help, please let me know, and I look forward to seeing your work on Seesaw, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye!